Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So as promised, in this video we are going to train a model using logistic regression. Okay, and in yesterday's session we have seen what is binary classification. So we have seen diabetic patient data, where we were defining whether the patient is diabetic or not by seeing the glucose level. So in the previous example there were only one variable. Okay, so if we have multivariable like that, we call it multivariate analysis. Okay, so in yesterday's example it was univariate, and in today's example we will work with multivariate data. So today's case study is about a telephone company, where the company want to predict whether uh, the company customer will go to any other company or not by seeing some of the data their monthly bill, their internet usage, and their age, gender, or the internet packs they use, or special offers they have taken, or amount of recharge they are doing. So by seeing all these kind of data, the we will train a model that will predict the customer will leave that company or not. Okay, so uh, let's get started. Let's first see the database. Okay, so firstly we will see how our data looks like. Okay, so let's see our data first, how the data look like. So let me open this in my window. Okay, and what I will do, I will go and open these data. So first, we are having three Excels here. First contain data about the customer. Let me open that first. Okay, so let me first open the customer data. So this is about here we have stored the all information related to the customer. So see, here are columns like the customer ID, the gender, senior citizen, partner, yes or no, or dependents, whether the person is having any dependent on him or not, like their grandparent and all. Okay, then we have second data of internet data. Okay, so what this data contains, this data contain values uh, how what services the customer is using, or how many type of services they have taken, whether they say streaming videos or not, whether he sees streaming movies or not. Okay, whether the person has taken the device protection or not, and what is the mode of internet, whether he is using fiber optic, or whether he is using DSL connection, kind of thing we have stored in this data set. And our third data is the churn data. Okay, so churn data is stores some of the basic info, what is the tenure means since how long the person is the part of the company. Okay, and whether he uses phone service or not, what is the type of contract, so whether he recharge monthly or whether he charge annually. Okay, whether he recharge monthly or whether he recharge annually, or whether he do paperless transaction or whether he do online transaction, what is the payment method, what is the monthly bill, what is the total charge. Okay, and based on that we will try to say whether the person will churn or not churn. Okay, so the last column I predict is whether the person is churn or not churn. So this is the training data we will give to our model, and based on this data the model will be trained and will predict the person, whether the person will switch to any other company or not. And we have also having a data dictionary in which meaning of all the columns has been stored. So if you have confusion anywhere, or what data is written in which column, you can go here and see. So this is like a practical example where organizations also work like this. So you a data dictionary is also given to you so that you can understand the data very well. Okay. So suppose in the dependents we can see if a customer has dependents, children, retired parent or not, partner, if customer is married or having a relationship or he is single. Okay. So in data dictionary you can see the detail about the column data. Okay. Now too much of theory, let's go ahead, and first of all we will start by creating of course a notebook. So call it let me call it anything, telecom data dot ipynb. Okay. Now I will start with, so first I will start with importing our data. So the first step will importing and merging data. Okay. Importing data. So how do we import our data uh, in Python? We use the pandas library, right? So first of all we will import pandas. So import uh, pandas as pd. Okay. And let import numpy also. Import numpy as np. Numpy we will use for scaling and kind of stuff, we will see later. But for now let's just import these two libraries. Okay. Now let's go ahead and try to and we will also want to suppress warning. So let me write the code for suppress warning also. Suppress warnings. Okay. And I will import warnings. This is to remove the unnecessary warnings from our output. Okay. So import warnings, and you can say warnings dot filter warnings, and you can just call ignore. Okay. Now there will be no any extra warning in our output, like depreciation warning we get generally, so that will suppress that kind of warnings. Okay. And I have done a spelling mistake here, sorry for that. Okay. Now let's import our data. So we have three data set, right? Churn data, customer data and internet data. So first of all, churn data equal to pd dot read csv. So read csv is a function to read csv file, and read excel is a function to read the excel file. So if you have a csv file, you use csv. Okay. Read csv, and the name of the file, that is in this case churn database dot csv. Okay. And just to see a glance of our data, how our data look like here, so I will see churn data dot head. Okay. Let's run this. So you can see the data is printed. The top 5 rows has been printed here, and we are getting the data properly, right? Now let import other two excels also. So we can copy paste also, or let me write here also. Customer data equal to customer data. Okay. I have done a mistake here, I have to press equal to. Okay. Now let's just import internet data. Internet data equal to pd dot read csv, and I will say, what is the name? Internet, no? Okay. Internet data. Okay. So I have imported all the data set. Now we have three excels. Okay. And to perform like the operation of data cleaning or model training, we need to merge these three excels. So if you notice, let me print my three excels here. Customer data and same, let's, okay, I forgot to call head dot head. Okay, and in same manner let print our internet data also. Okay, internet data dot head. Okay, now if you notice, you can see like customer ID is common in all three excels. Okay, so while merging the data, we can merge the data basis of on this customer ID. So this customer ID is acting like a primary key. So if you know the database, you know the concept of the primary key and the foreign key. So in this case, primary key is the customer ID. We can identify each customer in all three excels using this customer ID. Okay, suppose we want to fetch the name of the person, or we want to fetch the gender of the person, we simply just we will look out this customer ID here. We know she is female, and we can see the related data in uh, the other excel. Okay, now as I told you, let's merge this data for further operation. Okay, so let's merge this data. So I will create two data frame, and then I will merge both of the like data frames. Okay, so I will say df1 equal to, and in pandas there is a function called merge and name of the data set which you want to merge. So first I will merge churn data, and then I will merge customer data, and on the basis of which column we want to merge, on the basis of customer ID. So I will write on the basis of oh sorry, D is capital. Now let run this. Okay, now the two excel got merged into this variable df1, and now we will merge this data frame to a new data frame in with the internet. So all the three data set will be merged in a single variable. So let's name this as telecom equal to pd dot merge. I just called merge now. Okay, merge, and just pass the name of the data frame. So df1 comma internet data. Okay, comma on equal to, and again the on the basis of customer ID. Now let's print telecom head just to see how the data look like now. Okay, so as you can see, all the column get printed, all the 21 column got merged. Okay, and we have now a big data set combining all the columns of all these three excels into one. Okay, so in this method, row count will not be affected because row count is same in all the excels, correct? Just the column get extended here. So all column from all the excel got merged into one variable, that is this telecom. Okay, now let perform some basic data check. Okay, so we will call it data cleaning and validation. Okay, so data cleaning and validation. Now we will inspect our data frame basically, and we will try to clean our data set before training the model. So let's go ahead, and first of all let print the shape of this telecom. So I will call telecom dot shape. Okay, this will tell us how many rows and how many columns are present in our data set. So I can see there are 7043 rows and 21 columns in this data set. Now let's took a look on the columns details of this data frame, and we'll do it like, let's see the data distribution of this. Okay, so you can see the mean and median and max of this data. Okay, so the tenure mean is around 29 something, around monthly charges is 70, and the senior citizen, okay, senior citizen is taken by mistake because it's a numerical value, but ideally it shouldn't be here. Okay, now let's get the column info. So telecom dot info is the function name, if I am right, like, yeah, this is the function name. So you can see the name of the columns and the data type of the column also. So customer ID it's treating as an object. Why? It should like treat as a text or like, but it's treating as object because it's the combination of the number and alphabets. Tenure is int. Okay, phone service is object, monthly charges is float, payment method is object, senior citizen is int. So we can have like, we have to do like certain modification in the column data types, or we have to clean our data set a little bit. Okay, so if you observe our data set, okay, you can see the value of phone service is having yes and no values in it. Same as for paperless same billing, we are having our values in yes and no. So to train our data set, we have to convert these values to 0 and 1, where 0 means no and 1 means yes. In this way we can train our data. Okay, uh, so this is a mandatory step that we need to follow uh, to train our data set. So first of all we have to like convert this volume to zeros and ones. Okay, so how to do that? So I will write a simple function for that. So first of all, let list the columns which contains data like yes and no. Okay, so let me copy this for to save our time. Okay, now let's copy it here. Okay, so these are the columns that store data into like yes and no, and we want to convert all this to 0 and 1. So how can we do that? We can write a function. So we'll write a function. I will now name this function as like map data. Okay, and it will take a variable x. Okay, now you can write it like in two ways. You can use if else also, but that is like a very we can say not a good approach to use if else here. We can simply write something like return x dot map. Okay, and I will pass here if there is yes. Okay, or y as a capital, sorry, if there is a yes. Okay, make it 1 of it, and if there is a no, make that as 0. Okay, so our function is written. This simple method, this simple function we need to write. Okay, now let's apply this function to our data set. So we'll say telecom and where list which we created in cell number 15. We will use that, and I will use like telecom where list dot apply and name of the function, that is map data. Okay, so let me explain this line. What is happening here? We want to apply this function only certain some of the columns which contains data in yes and no. So we have created a list of such columns which contain data in yes and no, and we have kept in a list called var list. Okay, and we want to reflect data only on the those columns. Okay, so not now what we are doing, we are taking a chunk of our data frame and we are applying that function only to those columns. So dot apply is like a predefined function in pandas. Using that we can apply any function to our column data. Okay, so in this way, now when I print telecom dot head, okay, now you can see, okay, what happened, why it's coming as nan. Did I make some mistake? Okay, it shouldn't be nan actually. Okay, let me do one thing, let me reload the data set. So where were we? df1 telecom dot head, yes and no. Okay, now let's run this. Yeah, as you can see, now our data is coming correctly. So where there was no, it has become 0, and where there was yes, it has become yes, 1. Okay, so now the function is like working properly. What was the error? I have by mistake I have ran this function twice to this column, and that gave us some none value. Okay, now we need to create dummy values for some of the variables. Okay, so why we need to do that? Let understand with the example. Okay, so first of all, let me open my Excel. Blank worker. Okay, now suppose you have a column education level. Education level, and you have 3 values in that. So first one is high school. Let denote it with HS, high school, and then we have college, and then we have graduate. Okay, let's call it CLG. Okay, so now if we want to train a model, we want data in 0 and 1, as I told you. So how we can represent this data into zeros and 1? Okay, so suppose I choose 1 for high school and 0 for college. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to make 3 columns here. So first one is HS, second one CLG, and third one is graduation. Okay, so where high school is 1, it means sorry, we don't want grade here. Okay, so where high school is 1, we know that the person is in high school. We can make like something like we can make college as 1, where the college is 1. Okay, and where these both values are 0. Okay, GRD, in GRD, where these both values are 0, we know the person is in graduation. Okay, so we don't need this third one actually. Okay, so where the college is 1, the person is in college, there the HS is 1, the person is in high school, and where these both values are 0, the person is studying in the graduation. Okay, so this is the concept of dummy variables in Python. We also call it like on hot we also call it like on hot encoding of the data. Okay, and how to perform this in pandas data frame, we'll see in our code. Okay, so suppose here the contract is month to month and 1 year. So what I can do, what we can do, we will make 2 columns, month to month and 1 year. So where there is month to month, I will make month to month as 1, and where there is 1 year, I will make 1 year as 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and And how many dummy columns need to be created? That is like value minus 1. So suppose the number of values are n, you need to create n minus 1 columns to represent the data. Okay, as we have seen in the example also. So let's get at it and let's create the dummy variable. I will call it dummy1 equal to pd, and pandas has a beautiful function like get dummies to do this kind of work automatically. So get dummies, and I will pass the list of the like functions, sorry, the list of the columns here. Okay, which you want to create dummies for. So I have already copied the name of the columns. So all these values are we need to create dummy variables for that. Okay, and we, after creating this, we need to create the first column which was there. So I will call it like I will make this drop first equal to true. Okay, true is in caps. So what we are doing here is basically, suppose in this example, education level. Okay, we are having three values: high school, college, graduation. Okay, then there is high school, then there is graduation, kind of values is having in this column. By creating the dummy, how we create dummy variables, first we will count how many distinct value are here. So we can see there are only three type of values: hs, clg and grd. Okay, so we will create two columns. 3 minus 1 is 2. We will create two columns, hs and clg. Now if the person is studying in hs, I will make hs as 1. If the person is studying in column, I will make clg as 1. If the person is studying in like graduation, we will make both of them as 0. Okay, in this case this is 0. Okay, now if the person is in high school, make this 1 and make this 0. And if the person is in grd, again make both of them 0. So in this way we can represent our data using dummy variables. Okay, and after representing the data in this manner, we don't need this first column. Okay, so that's why we are using drop first equal to true here. So what we are doing, we are creating the dummy variables and we are dropping the first ones. So, and after doing that, I want to concat this data to my main data frame, that is telecom. So I will call telecom equal to pd dot concat. So it will add all these columns which present in dummy one. So let's go ahead and see what columns are there. Dummy one dot head, just to show you. So you can see all the contract one, and for the contract and for the payment method, it has created the dummy variable. So contract 1 year is 0 here. Why? Because the person is using month to month subscription. Okay, contract 2 year is also 0. It means the person is using month to month. Okay, for 1 year it has kept 1 year value as 1. Hope this is clear. Okay, and the same columns we want to add in our main data frame. So that's why we are using concat here. Okay, so let's call this concat function. And how we call the concat? We will have to pass the name of the data frames here. Now in this way, if we print our data set, now we can see all the columns has been added, and now we have 29 column in our data set. Okay, so this video is getting little bit longer, so let's stop here and we will continue tomorrow. In tomorrow videos I will clean the data further and then we will train our model.